Alright, you guys, so this is going to be round 1 of our tournament at GXGAMERS. In this round, I'm playing Ivankov, and we're going up against Green Kid. So we'll go ahead and dive right into it and begin. Alright, here, so starting the game off here. This was a really long game, and even fast forwarded, it still drags out pretty long here. So we're starting off the game here, trying to see actually who gets to go first. We open Perona, which is a pretty solid hand for Ivankov. We didn't see our combo pieces of the 6-drop Luffy and the 7-drop Ivankov, but we do have the 3-cost Doflamingo in hand 8 and a 1-cost Perona. So not a terrible start for us here. He actually goes first. So we're gonna go ahead and rest 1 and play the Perona here. Check 5. No combo piece. So 5 bottom decked already. We play a second Perona. Check 5. No combo piece. Went ahead and put the buggy at the top. The reason why I did that actually is because buggy will allow me to see 5 more cards off the top and add a card to my hand and put the 5 to the bottom. So it actually doesn't hurt me to set it up at the very top when I do my Perona, because I'm gonna draw it and bottom deck the 5 anyway, and it gives me a play for my 4 Dawn turn, and also set up the next cards in my deck. So as you see there, I added the 1 card, bottom deck 4 cards, and I still have 3 left to play Doflamingo. But before doing that, I'm gonna swing in for 5. He's gonna counter out. At this point, I'm thinking like, okay, so this guy just used 1 card in his hand to counter 5k. Fairly reasonable. Usually kid players against the blue decks, they'll just eat all the damage, but in this case he countered 1, so I was like, kind of weird. It's not often that you see that. I'm like, okay, whatever. We did the Dofi play, and it looks like we saw some good stuff off the top, so we just set that up. He goes double Bonnie. Solid hand, man. It's actually getting a little scary here in the beginning. Loads up the kid. So yeah, basically our goal here is just to set up the combo and play as many Ivankovs and Luffy's as we can, and that's our way of kind of overwhelming the kid decks, is just playing as many big bombs as possible, because we really don't have any way to interact with their 8-drop kid once it's on the field. So he's swinging in here for big damage. I'm gonna counter out. The deck doesn't really mind countering out of attacks early on, because its goal is really to reduce hand size as quickly as possible, so you can start drawing off of your leader ability anyway. So it doesn't really care that much, and also countering out early on like that will give me a bigger buffer in life. So as you can see there, I did set up the Luffy off the top. Unfortunately, I drew another Luffy off of the life there. I'm still sleeving my loser Dons here. So I think I'm likely going to be playing the Luffy here. It's my 6th Dawn turn, and discarding the 2 cards so that I can start using the leader effect. So let's see what happens. I think I might have put out too much Dawn actually here. Alright, so we're gonna swing in for 5 first. Counters out. I'm like, okay, cool. At this point I'm like, alright, good. So he's not really playing the traditional way to play kid against the blue matchup, so I'm like, okay, maybe I can pull a win out of this one. Kid's usually a really tough matchup for blue in general, but in this case, because he's a little bit more defensive early game, we're able to actually like pressure his hand and reduce his hand size a little bit easier. So he goes and drops a 7 drop here. It's still a tough card to deal with. He swings into lead. I don't think he's resting his leader when he attacks, actually. It's kind of confusing. All right. So at this point, I'm at 8 Don. I'm trying to dig for my Ivankovs. I've seen quite a bit of searchers here, but we still have had no luck finding the Ivankov. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Luffy ability to bounce my buggy, so I can have an additional search off the top. And I'm gonna use that 1 extra Dawn I have right now, because I have 8 Dawn. Try and get the Ivankov. If I can get this off the top 5, I'll have just enough Dawn to play it, but still no luck. I've seen a 3rd Luffy now, so I think the right play here is probably just to grab the Luffy, but let's see what we do here. Okay, so I go for the Croc, actually. Interesting. Maybe I'm thinking at this point I want to use the extra Dawn to pressure his... Yeah. I used the 2 extra Dawn I had to pressure his board, but I think the right play there was to actually get the Luffy instead of just adding the extra Dawn. But then again, no, that was fine. It did force him to use his blocker, so it wasn't so bad. So he still hasn't used his Bonnie yet, which is a little bit unusual, especially because he only has 1 card in hand. He's kind of just like sitting on the Bonnies here. So finally he does end up using 1. He's gonna be digging for some cards. Hopefully we don't see the 8 drop here. Still no Ivankov. We're now reaching our 10 Dawn turn next turn, and no luck. But fortunately, we do have some beat sticks on the board, so he's gonna have to try to clear that for him to have any chance at winning the game here. So he goes and swings high into Luffy. I think. Do we have enough to counter out? Curious. Oh, so I did end up discarding 2 to save the Luffy there. That means that we're not going to be able to do the Luffy ability this turn, unfortunately. But we do end up keeping a beater on the board, so that does definitely help our strategy here. We only have a Alvida in hand at the moment. So now we're pressuring life here. We have all this extra Dawn, so I figure might as well go for face. He's continuously discarding cards to keep his life up, which I think is not the right move in this situation. But we'll see how it pays off. Alright, so we're gonna go 7 into 7 drop blocker. I was really trying to get him to counter out there, and it kind of worked out. Alright, so now leader ability, draw 2. Still no Ivankov. It's just like a very unlucky game. Does the Bonnie search? Let's see what he gets here. All right. I think at this point he's likely to tap out for the 8 drop. I'm trying to remember exactly what he did here. So he goes 6k into Verona. Interesting. And I think he swung with leader, but he's not resting his leader. So I wasn't actually aware he wasn't resting his leader, but he was declaring the attack, so I really didn't care too much. Finally, we draw our Ivankov. This is like our 6th turn. Very unlucky here. At this point, I'm really just focusing on clearing his board and trying to keep his hand size as small as possible. So I'm actually going to play the stage here. I'm likely to just use it to reduce my hand size and increase my chances of getting the Luffy. So I'm going to check. Whoo! Double Ivankov off the top. Just like super unlucky. So we buggied into that. Luckily we were able to get an Inazuma, so that does help us a little bit here. At least we have something to play with our Ivankov this turn. He goes in Punk Gibson's. 2 cards in hand here. Swinging into lead. Drop the Ivankov here. Hoping still to get lucky with the Luffy. Here we go. No luck. Alright, but that's okay. We're going to go ahead and play the Inazuma. 2k counters in hand. And still a Luffy swing. Swing into lead. It looks like I'm going to use Luffy ability to bounce and double attack to life here. And he goes and plays a... I'm not sure what that is. I'm assuming it's some kind of 3k counter or something. He didn't take any damage or discard an additional card when I swung for 7. So yeah, I'm assuming it's some kind of high power counter, like a 3k or something. Never seen that card before. That's very interesting. Alright, so he goes and plays the Yamato. Swings in with lead. I'm gonna block with Inazuma. Oh no, he rests the Inazuma, I'm sorry. It's hard to tell. So he's swinging in with the Basil. Counter to 8k. With 1 card in hand. I'm just reminding him that Basil's ability lets him restand on attack if he attacks a character. Because I don't think he realized that. So he has Basil. He goes in for a second swing into my Inazuma. Kills it. Now he's loading up the leader. Did he swing for... Oh, okay. So he put him to 7 and does a double swing. I wonder what's in my hand right now. I should have 2 cards. Oh, I had Ivankov. Oh, that's unlucky. Man, those double swings are pretty brutal, actually. We're going 7 to Basil here. He's gonna counter with Apu. Going 6 to Basil. So now at this point we're just doing a little bit of board control. We're trying to draw into another Luffy, so we draw the 3 here. No Luffy. Nothing just seems to be going right for us this game. It seems like we never get the Luffy Ivankov combo, but we did manage at least to play some bodies with Ivankov. He's probably gonna go for the swing here. Yep. Clears up that. We're still at 4 life. Still pretty healthy. At this point, we're on the driver's seat. Oh, there you go. There's the last Luffy. We do have 1 Luffy coming up. near the bottom. It should be coming up now because we've been bottom decking quite a bit of cards here. And we also have one Luffy in hand. I do believe we have one more Ivankov in the deck, so we'll see how this one plays out here. Can we get the combo finally? Can we do it? Swings into lead, I believe. Gonna go ahead and counter out of that. We don't really mind. I'm trying to reduce my hand size anyway because I'm trying to maximize my draw potential with my leader ability. Gonna go for the stage here. Discard 1, discard 2. We want to have 0 cards by our end of our turn so that we can draw 2 again. So I set aside the 6, swinging in 6 into Yamato. We're just going exact at this point because he has no hand. So we're gonna go 5 to lead, takes it. Another 5 to lead, takes it. And then 7 to lead, and then he takes it. Just unfortunate. End of turn, draw 2 cards. We have a 2k and a 1k in hand now. Alright. So it doesn't seem like he really had much that he could do at the moment. He just sticks 2 additional blockers. And with the 6 Dawn he has left, let's see what he does here. Ooh, okay. He goes and plays the Frankie. Interesting. Draw for life. I think he swung into my life for 5 or something. It's really hard to tell when he's not resting his leader here. So I swung in to lead with Luffy. I bounced the blocker, swung in for 7, and that's the game, you guys. So, kind of a weird game. He didn't actually stick an 8-drop. I didn't realize that before watching this footage. I'm not really sure if he played that matchup properly, but he was still fairly new to the game and fairly new to Kid in general, so can't give him too much smack. It was a very weird hand for me, but we pulled through with a win on there. So we're moving on to round 2, you guys. I'll see you on the next one.